Hi, welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. My name is Jem. Now, I have just uploaded what I channeled about a so-called comet. And this commentary is titled, I Channeled a New Alien Race, but you shouldn't believe me. I'm going to talk about radical honesty. Before I say anything, I want to be very clear. What I'm about to share is the first time that I ever channeled a full, detailed description of a race like this. I channeled 5-foot humanoid white beings with red hair and black eyes. And these weren't fragments, not impressions, a complete visual and narrative. And that alone should make you pause. Because when something appears fully formed like that, we have to ask, where did it actually come from? Now, I'm not asking you to believe me. In fact, I'm asking you not to. Treat this as an exploration, even entertainment if you want. Because if we don't question this space, we'd lose our footing very quickly. Part 1 is the channeling itself. What came through was specific. Beings around 5 foot tall, very pale, almost white skin, red hair, and black eyes. Humanoid, but not quite human. And what stood out wasn't just how they looked, but what they were doing. They presented themselves as something like freedom fighters, spiritually advanced, opposed to reptilian-type forces that in this narrative imprison or control planetary systems. According to what I received, these beings were using the appearance of a comet, specifically tied to C/2014 UN 2001, the Bernardinelli Bernstein, as a form of camouflage, not to arrive loudly, but to pass unnoticed. And the reason? Interception. The information suggested they were responding to something linked to 3i Atlas, which I had previously channeled as a reptilian associated operation. Specifically, something about Mars being considered for terraforming. So, in this narrative, these beings weren't invading, they were intervening. Part 2. Why this is so unusual. Now, here's where things get interesting and a little uncomfortable. I have never channeled anything like this before. My own past experiences, if I'm being honest, lean towards mantis-type beings, grey-type encounters, and reptilian frameworks. That's been my internal library. But this didn't come from that shelf. And that matters. Because either one, there's something genuinely new emerging in my perception Or 2. My mind has constructed something novel from fragments I didn't even realize I had. Part 3. The far side overlap. Now here's the part that made me stop. I had watched a remote viewing session connected to 3i Atlas. In that session, and this was after I had uploaded my own channeling about 3i Atlas being reptilian beings, this is what the viewer described. He described a craft-like structure. On it were reptilians, greys, and even human presence. But more importantly, this person described that part of this structure was under attack. And when they focused on the attackers, they mentioned red hair. That detail, that very specific, unusual detail, matched what I had channeled. Now, let's not jump to conclusions, because there are 2 very grounded possibilities here. I subconsciously picked up that detail, or we're both drawing from similar symbolic frameworks. But it is interesting, not proof, just a point worth examining. Part 4. Early contactees and the problem of new races. Let's zoom out historically. Back in the 1950s to the 1970s, the early contactee era, people reported encounters with all kinds of being. Some of it sounds familiar today. Some of it sounds completely fringe. Blonde Nordic types, human-looking visitors, beings with very specific appearances and messages. But here's the pattern. Many of those descriptions were inconsistent, contradictory, and often shaped by the culture of their time, which raises an important point. When something is described as a new race, is it actually new? Or is it rarely perceived, symbolically interpreted, or filtered through human expectation? Because, according to what came through in my channeling, these beings said something very specific, that humans had not encountered them physically, but that they have been intuited, remote viewed. Now again, we have to be careful, because that statement itself could be part of the narrative construction. Part 5. The accuracy problem. This is where grounding is absolutely critical. Remote viewing under controlled conditions is often cited at around 65% accuracy. That's with protocols, structure, blinding methods. So, ask yourself this. If that's the benchmark, what is the accuracy of channeling? There's no agreed percentage, no consistent controls, which means we must treat it as interpretive, filtered, and influenced by memory, culture, and personal experience. And this is where I want to be very clear. Even if multiple intuitive people describe the same beings, that does not make it true. It could mean we are seeing the same symbol, not the same reality. Part 6 is the human filter. This, to me, is one of the most important ideas. When we perceive something non-human, we don't see it directly. We translate it through a human brain, human memory, human imagery. So, when someone sees a reptilian, is it actually reptilian? Or is that the closest visual match the brain can produce? Same with greys, mantis beings, and now red-haired humanoids. These forms may not be literal. They may be interfaces, like icons on a desktop, representing something far more complex underneath. In conclusion, open, grounded, and honest. So, where does that leave this? I've shared exactly what I received. I've also shared why you should question it. Because curiosity without skepticism can turn into belief very quickly. And belief without grounding can take you places that aren't helpful. So, take this how you want. As exploration, as possibility, as symbolism, or even just a story. But whatever you do, don't switch your thinking off. Question everything, even this. Thank you very much, beautiful, beloved souls. I needed to upload this because I have always said channeling is not accurate. We filter. We filter and we have biases. Biases through education, through belief, through what we are letting in and out every day, through trauma, and through experiences. And we filter. Think of it like this. If a being is being claimed is doing the receiving, and I am the so it's transmitting, and I'm the receiver, the channeler. Have you ever thought that being's language being translated into my English, I'll filter the words. Thank you again for watching. As I will always stay true and authentic, I will never admit something is true. Thank you again. Please, if you're going to drop a comment, I ask you do so respectfully. And the first question I have for you is think of the best person. What I mean is think of a person who's circled with the best intuition. And what percentage would you think that person, whether it be a medium, whether it be a psychic, whether it be a remote viewer, what percent accuracy do you think, say, just in one example, they achieved? Because I know there are certain people who claim 100% accuracy. I have watched a certain person claim that they did a remote viewing and they scored 100%. Thanks again. Please be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Love, light, and blessings. And I'll see you on the weekend. Bye.